Hello and welcome to Audiobook Connection, behind the scenes with the creative teams. I'm Becky Parker Geist and I'm your host. Audiobook Connection is your place to learn about the audiobook creative process and for authors to learn valuable tips on producing and marketing your audiobooks. This podcast is sponsored by Pro Audio Voices, helping great stories come alive through audiobook production and marketing. Thanks for joining me today. We're going to talk about what to do when you first get your audiobook or when you have your audiobook already out there on a platform and you're trying to figure out, okay, what do I do next? How do I get the word out? How do I attract buyers? How do I connect with listeners? And there are a lot of challenges to doing several of those things, maybe all of those things. And so I want to address as much as I can those questions around how to get from where you are, which might be feeling kind of invisible on an audiobook platforms, to where you can actually experience the delightful experience of knowing that you have customers and that people are listening and getting benefit from your audiobook. So let's jump in. Most platforms are providing you with a place to sell. In other words, a giant audiobook store and with no tools available to you to bring your audiobook up to the top of that platform where people can actually find it. So the typical thing is that you are full on responsible for marketing your book and just moving the needle in terms of, sales. And that's pretty much it on those platforms. So one of the things I want to touch on is both ways to make yourself more visible and your audiobook more visible, but also making sure that you know that there is a better option out there now available, or actually it's partially available now. It's getting even better really soon. So I'll talk just briefly about that as well. All right. So here's why the publish and pray method of marketing doesn't really work for audiobooks. Frankly, it doesn't usually work for much of anything. The reality of our world is we are bombarded with information and marketing messages all the time. And for people who really, where that's not their realm and marketing is not so much their thing that gets them all excited, to get up in the morning and jump into marketing whatever it is, that can be hard, right? And so really what we need to focus on is to find the things that we do love to do that is moving us forward in our momentum and our reach, and still is connected to the passion that we have for whatever our particular thing or book or our expertise may be. All right? So let's jump into how we start leveraging our existing readers into listeners. So this is assuming that you already have readers who are getting your book in some other format. And how do we start bringing them over into the listening world? You might think, well, why would I be trying to do that? Because they've already read the book or bought the book, so that's it. Done. Well, there may be, depending on your content in part, but there may be the potential that your readers would actually also like to have the audiobook. Here's why. When we take in content or information or stories, the way in which we take them in, it affects how we receive the information. So when I am reading the pages of a paper book, I am taking in the information with my eyes. When I listen to it, I am taking it in through my ears. Now, do I process that information exactly the same? I think if you really think about your own experience, you would agree that no, we process it slightly differently. We can retain different pieces of information in different ways. For people who really love your story or really love the content that you have provided in one format, there is what might feel like a really surprisingly high number of people who will also purchase another format of the same book. Knowing that means that when you know who your readers are, it's a smart idea to also let them know about the audiobook because they might very well want to get that as well. And you can also leverage that information that if they have purchased the print or ebook, that maybe you offer them a special deal on their audiobook. Now, you might ask the question, well, how do I do that? What is the mechanism to make that happen? For most audiobook platforms, there isn't a mechanism to make that happen. But good news, there is on AMPlify Audiobooks. So when your audiobook is on AMPlify Audiobooks, then you have the tools to make that possible, to implement that as a marketing tactic. What you would do is you would get verification of maybe it's seeing a receipt of the purchase that the person has made, and then you can give them a discount code of whatever kind you want to get the audiobook. And then I would recommend that you take note of the people who actually do get the audiobook edition and follow up with them. Ask them about their experience and what that was like. Did they enjoy one format more than the other? Did they retain information in a different way, certain kinds of information more in one format versus the other? And the reason I'm suggesting that you track that is because that can be valuable information that you then share with your other listeners or your other readers. They might really be moved by the fact that, other members of your audience are finding additional benefit from getting more than one format of your content. Now, maybe you don't have a following yet. Maybe your audiobook and book have just come out. You've just launched them. In that case, I want to start with a congratulations because that's a big deal. So well done. And now, so if you're at the beginning of the process, what can you do to help raise your visibility in the audiobook realm? One of the first things that people tend to think about is social media. That thought sometimes makes people groan because they think, I don't want to be on social media. Or maybe it gets you excited. Maybe you do enjoy social media. Regardless, I want to remind you that if it is not something that you particularly enjoy, that it's best to pick one platform that you feel like you could at least make an effort on. And if you need assistance with that, find somebody who is willing to be like a virtual assistant for you. That's a great way to do it. Maybe it's your child or grandchild. Maybe it's a friend who's really into social media. There are a lot of ways to get the little bit of help that you need in order to be able to move forward. Then you need to think about which type of content do I feel most comfortable creating? Is it writing text and you want to keep that sort of short, not too long, because social media are, there's tend to be shorter posts to get people to listen or to read them, I mean. Is it visual? Is it video? Is it audio? What makes you most comfortable? What do you get most excited about sharing? And then create that content based on what you love and feel comfortable with. I would say generally the easiest can be just getting on your phone and recording yourself talking to your camera and sharing something that's exciting to you, or it might be something behind the scenes of creating the audiobook, or it might be something like a review that you just received, or it could be about something that you ended up omitting from the audiobook, sort of a behind the scenes, omitted scenes kind of experience. So there's any number of things, or it could just be about you and building your following as an author. And initially, it might feel like nothing's happening because when you're getting started, it can feel that way. You don't immediately get hundreds or thousands of followers. It grows over time, and it grows with consistency. So just plan on doing something simple, something small initially, and just do it consistently. And I'm just going to sort of toss into the middle of this episode right here that one of the best things you can do overall is just do something. Do something consistently to get out there to help raise the visibility of your book or audiobook. That can be any number of things. And the main thing is that you just stay at it, chip away at it. You'll probably find it actually can become more fun. You can develop habits that are really great marketing habits. And over time, you'll see that your visibility will rise as well. Let's just take a short pause. We'll come right back. Would you like to earn more from your audiobook sales? If you're an author with an audiobook, you may have noticed that royalties from Audible especially, and other platforms as well, are frankly kinda pathetically low, disappointingly low, and unfairly low considering what it cost you in effort and resources to create it. How is it the retailers are the ones making all the money off your work and investment? As someone who started in the audiobook industry in 1981, I've found it frustrating that authors keep getting shortchanged. The good news is that Pro Audio Voices just launched AMPlify Audiobooks, a direct sale audiobook platform for authors that puts you back in the driver's seat. Earn 65% of the gross sales price that you set. Compare that to the percentage of the percentage that retailers give. Run promotions on schedule whenever you want. Create coupon codes. Build community with your customers since you'll know who they are and how to contact them. Work with a caring, responsive, supportive team to help you succeed all along the way. Get help with marketing. Get paid weekly. We're helping audiobook authors who are frustrated by painfully low royalties and the barriers that prevent them from managing their own products and customers. AMPlify Audiobooks is a direct sale platform that enables authors to earn much higher royalties and have way more control. We're disrupting the audiobook industry by putting authors first. Get started today at proaudiovoices.app or go to proaudiovoices.com and click on the Distribution Amplify link. Join the movement. Okay, so here are some really powerful reasons why I strongly encourage you to become part of AMPlify Audiobooks. It is so much more than just another audiobook store. It is not just a marketplace, it is actually a movement. It is a place where we are coming together, where you as an author have control over your audiobooks and can connect with your listeners and your narrators. It is a place where you are empowered, and that cannot be said of other audiobook platforms. AMPlify Audiobooks was designed specifically to help authors succeed and to create a really positive experience for both listeners and authors and publishers and narrators and everyone that really loves audiobooks. It's not built around the idea, which other platforms generally are, of how can we make the most money using these products. That's not how AMPlify Audiobooks came into existence. It came into existence because of the passionate desire to be able to help authors succeed with their audiobooks. So what does that mean now as we're launching version 3, V3 of AMPlify Audiobooks? It means that there are tools in place that are going to allow you to build these connections with your audience, where you can build community, where you can develop relationships with the people who are a part of your audiobook. That could be narrators, it could be project managers, and it can be listeners. Mostly, it will be listeners, right? So, what are some of the ways that you can be connecting? What does that mean? Because this is so new out there in the world, there's not really something that we can relate it to very easily, but I'll describe it so you have a better understanding. When you as an author are on AMPlify and you have your audiobook there, a listener, and if you are an audiobook listener, hopefully if you are an audiobook author, you are also an audiobook listener. I just want to throw that out there. When you're a listener and you're listening to the audiobook, you'll be able to use what is very much like a built-in journal, and you can use that to note reflections that you have as you're listening. And what does that do? First of all, it does a couple of things, and then I want to talk about the privacy options. It creates for you a way to more deeply connect with the material itself. When we are taking notes on something, we tend to take it in more deeply. We're reflecting on it. We're thinking about it more deeply, right? And so we can write these reflections. Every time you write a reflection, again, sort of like a journal that's built right into the platform, when you write a reflection and then post it, you have the option to keep it private for yourself only. That's okay. When you share it with the AMPlify Audiobooks community, what that means is that others who are listening to that same audiobook and the author and the narrator, if they're on the platform, all of those people and other listeners, right, will all be able to see your reflection and can then benefit from your own insight in relation to what you reflected on. I mean, think about it, again, it goes beyond even your own increased depth of understanding and processing and taking in whatever it is that you have reflected upon. But you're also, by sharing that reflection and seeing the reflections of others for yourself, then you're helping them to grow even more deeply. And when you see other people's reflections, that can impact the way that you think about something. It's like having an online conversation, but about a very specific audiobook, a very specific moment within an audiobook. This can be really helpful as well for the author to understand how their work is impacting their listeners, what is meaningful to them. And I have certainly found this to be true, that authors are not always fully aware of what parts of their audiobook or book are going to be the most impactful to a listener or a reader. So here on AMPlify Audiobooks, we have created a tool to facilitate that kind of sharing and knowledge around the specific content of an audiobook. The more that each of us on the platform and that we as a whole community, the more that we engage with these reflections and share our own reflections, the more we all grow. We grow together, we grow personally, and we're really supporting each other in such a lovely way. One of the things I have to say, I talk with so many authors, and there are certainly times that I've had very moving conversations where I realize that the author has not felt validated in their own work. Marketing is hard, or can be, doesn't have to be, but it takes a lot of effort in any case. And if you're not getting the results that you had hoped for, it can feel like, what's the point? It can feel like you wonder if your work has value in the world, if you're making the kind of impact that you want to have. And when your content has a specific goal, such as like helping people get healthy again, to not feel like you are being heard with your content can really feel like it can get depressing. So a part of what we're doing here together is validating each other as well. And that's not to say you have to love every audiobook. Of course you don't. But each audiobook will find its appropriate, its aligned listeners when we have the opportunity to access tools that are going to help us get it out there in the world to those potential listeners. So how do we do that? Again, we are all working together to invite people to the platform, invite people to specific audiobooks where they can learn about them, where we're sharing reflections, and that those reflections that are shared publicly can be shared outside the platform as well, as a tool to draw people in and help them discover AMPlify Audiobooks. And as the CEO and founder, I come into this launch process, these launch weeks, as we're getting so close to the launch of this next version of AMPlify Audiobooks with all of these amazing tools. I come into it clear-eyed. I know it's not going to be an immediate fix. It's going to take time. It's going to take community. It's going to take commitment together as we all together are moving this initiative forward. But I know that it will provide such value in the world. And I know that it's very, very needed. So I am fully committed to doing my part in helping everyone who is a part of the AMPlify Audiobooks to thrive and to help the platform grow so that everyone on it can thrive even more. My ultimate goal, and I feel my calling in this world, is to nurture a thriving community of authors, listeners, narrators, audiobook production team, all of these people as a community to really thrive and live abundantly and to achieve the goals that we set out for ourselves. That is my hope and dream, and I hope that you'll be a part of it. Thanks so much for joining me today. If at the point that you are listening to this, it is April 3rd, 2026 or after, please join us on AMPlifyAudiobooks.com. You can join for free. Thanks again. Thanks for joining us for Audiobook Connection, behind the scenes with the creative teams. Please take a moment to subscribe at audiobookconnection.com. The podcast is sponsored by Pro Audio Voices, helping great stories come alive through audiobook production and marketing. Learn more at proaudiovoices.com. Again, thanks for being with us, and please join us next week.